On October 13, 1877, Robert Schmale was hanged after a trial that found him guilty of a terrifying and inexplicable murder spree. The townspeople were filled with so much anger and hatred that they left his body hanging for days. The tale says not one of the townspeople demonstrated even a shred of remorse, let alone forgiveness. Since then, Schmale has been said to haunt the town. Those who have seen him say he appears as a ghostly male figure, but as soon as the figure registers in your mind, it disappears, somewhat maddeningly, into the darkness. My grandma lives in a very stereotypical horror movie house. Small Midwest town, white and old-looking home on a farm. She even has a chipped wooden Mary nativity in the front yard. She also has a cemetery about a half-mile down the road. I used to sleep in the room in the corner on the top floor, my aunt's room, and it had a wooden rocking chair in it. When I was younger, I would wake up because I thought I heard it rocking, to the point where I would wake up my grandma and have to stay in her room. About 10 years later, my mom, aunt, and I were talking about how creepy my grandma's house was. My aunt goes on to talk about how when she was younger, the reason my mom and her ended up sharing a room was because she thought her room was haunted. She said she woke up one morning and the rocking chair was about 2 feet closer to her bed, and after that night, it would start rocking on a nightly basis at midnight. I was staying in the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, oldest property on the Strip with a sordid mob history. In the middle of the night, I woke and saw a dark figure moving around the foot of my bed and coming up the gap between the twin beds. I hit the light, and there was a full figure of a man in a 60s sports blazer with blood all over his face. I yelled, "Go away," and started flinging my arm in his direction. Just like that, he disappeared. I woke my friends in the other bed and my buddy said, "What the hell are you swatting at?" I told them, and they laughed at me. The following morning, my buddy said after I had fallen asleep, water was dripping on his head, but there was no leak on the ceiling, and was convinced we may have shared a paranormal encounter. When I was 16, I was riding horses with my friend in the field beside her house. The horse threw me and I hit my head hard. The next thing I know, I'm on my back in incredible pain, staring up at my friend, who is frantically screaming at me. Dazed, my gaze shifted, and then refocused on her friend behind her, a tall, thin man wearing a black suit and an old-fashioned, wide-brimmed hat. He was staring unblinking into my eyes over my friend's shoulder. Days later, she came to visit me in the hospital, and I asked her about the man I'd seen. I thought it was the new boyfriend she'd recently told me about. She told me there was no one there but me and her.